if you look at the future contains property, art, money, currency, equity, and credit. All those things are going to exist. There's currently 100 million companies. As long as there are 100 million companies, there's going to be equity in the companies, whether it's Apple stock or Amazon stock, right? And there are always going to be companies, because if you look at economics, it's always going to be more efficient for a certain group of people to do something for you than for you to do it yourself. If you roll the clock back to, say, 14th century Florence, in the textile industry, they need like 36 different specialists with 36 different machines just to weave a piece of cloth. So the good old days of we're just going to do everything ourselves, on a homestead, they never existed. I think that, I read the other day about finding a stone axe factory that's more than 1 million years old. So they find this like Neolithic, Paleolithic, whatever, axe factory. And there's hundreds of axes in the axe factory. And what that's telling you is 1 million years ago, a bunch of human beings organized a society that was sophisticated enough that they could dedicate one group of the society to do nothing other than create stone axes and trade those stone axes for food, clothing, shelter, services, etc. So there's never been a time in human history when people weren't specialized. We're going to have companies, and if you're going to have companies, you're going to have equity. The question is, do we monetize the equity, or does the equity trade at its fair value based upon the cash flows that the corporation can generate? And credit's not going away. You cannot like bonds, but at the end of the day, you're always going to want to be able to borrow some money from somebody. A company will want to be able to borrow money. Governments will borrow money, and there will be creditors that will want to loan the money. And the real issue is, will it be a fair cost of capital? Will I get a fair rate for the money or not?
Hey, money talkers, and today we're diving deep into the Bitcoin universe. Smash that like button and subscribe. Miners are making moves. Is there a storm brewing for BTC in 2024? Bitcoin miners are playing a different game. They've been slowly backing away from the king coin. Why? Well, it's like this. BTC has been flexing its muscles, but struggling to hit that $50,000 sweet spot. And when miners start reducing their exposure, it's like a warning sign flashing in neon lights. What are they up to? Let's find out. Now, let's talk metrics, the real MVPs of the crypto game, and to the miner to exchange flow. It's like a speedometer for miners, measuring how much BTC they're tossing onto the exchanges. And guess what? Lately, it's been revving up by 60% in the last month. Miners selling more than they mine. That's miners saying, hey, we're not feeling the BTC love right now. But wait, there's more drama. Check out BTC's miner reserve. It's like peeking into miners' wallets. In the last 30 days, it's been on a 1% decline. What does that mean? Miners are taking their coins out of the wallet party. Should we be worried? Hold that thought. Now, let's talk UTXOs, the unsung heroes of the crypto world. When UTXOs in profit spike, it's like a roller coaster ride. Right now, there's a bit of a spike in Bitcoin's unspent transaction outputs in profit territory. It's like a seesaw, up and down. We're at around 87%, and that's got some crypto minds buzzing. But here's the plot twist. It's not as high as the 95% during the 2021 bull market. Is this the calm before the storm or a crypto blessing? Let's decode. Bitcoin miners making moves, price hurdles of $44,000, and the crypto crystal ball showing signs of 2024 surprises. What are your thoughts on this BTC saga? Now, let's continue our discussion with Michael Saylor.
I think that, fire is the same thing. I mean, you're not going to let 8-year-olds use fire the way that you would let an aeronautical engineer use fire, or the way you would let, even your campfire instructor, or your survival training instructor use fire. So they're all different. And gold is a monetary protocol formed over thousands of years, and it was used across lots of different nations and lots of different cultures. Some nations use it better than others, right? The Aztecs, the Incas didn't use gold so much as a monetary protocol. The Spaniards did. They thought they were winning when they used it. They had lots of chaos in the way that they used it. there are people that have used the protocol effectively, but there are ways that the protocol has been twisted. I think the one takeaway from all of this, though, is these protocols are much more powerful to the extent that you believe they'll maintain their integrity over long periods of time. And at the point that people start to lose faith in the protocol, if the number 2 means 4 and the number 4 means 8, think about the chaos. Like, think about how many machines and how many computer programs break if someone redefines 4 to be 2 or plus to be minus, or certain rules, right? And I think when Bitcoin is seen as that long-term protocol, we can create economic machines. And there's this debate in the community, but most of the community debate is Bitcoin developers that actually want to change, change the core protocols. They have ideas for how to make it more functional and more performant. But really, I think that Bitcoin has already offered us the ability to create $100 trillion economy without changing any of the protocol. And you have this interesting trade-off, which is the more you screw with the underlying protocol, the more you interfere with the rest of the economy and all of, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, layer 5. So let me change subjects to one other point, which is I think there's a lot of debate because of people's vision of what Bitcoin should be. For example, cryptocurrency has saddled the entire industry with so much baggage, because if you believe that Bitcoin is a digital currency, you immediately put yourself in opposition to nation states, banks, political currencies, governments, laws, etc., and you're by necessity a rebel. Because to be able to use Bitcoin as a currency, you have to actively break laws or topple regimes, and that's a very combative view of the world. If you actually conceptualize Bitcoin as property, or money, if money is collateral that backs the currency, then you actually have a very peaceful resolution to this problem. I'm going to hold my money as a store of wealth, and Bitcoin competes with property or gold as a store of wealth, or it competes with stock portfolio as a store of wealth. And I'm going to make that my savings account or my savings portfolio. And then my checking account, my medium of exchange, is going to be the currency dictated by the regime where I live, whether it's Venezuela or Argentina or the US or China or whatever. And when you just divide those two and you say Bitcoin is money, but is not currency, then all of a sudden you realize that you're competing against other stores of value, and really your crusade every day is to convince people to store their wealth in Bitcoin instead of art, real estate, gold, S&P indexes, bond funds, etc. And you can have a completely neutral view toward tax law, legal tender, political laws, customs, tariffs, capital controls, price controls, trade controls, wars, ideologies, religions, right? Politicians, right? The entire works. So I definitely think it's so much more constructive to think of it as property than currency. And I think that the twist there is, if I take property and I make it fungible and liquid, then it really is money. And it's capital, right? So Bitcoin, if you think of Bitcoin as digital capital, digital money, or digital property held for the long term as collateral against a local currency, and then you say, as a citizen of the world, I'm going to swap into whatever currency I need to spend wherever I am, then you found a peaceful resolution to the question of, do we have to be martyrs, or can we be winners? And I've said a lot, I'd rather be a winner than a martyr. And instead of saying we have to use Bitcoin as a currency and therefore you have to repeal all your tax laws and change your legal tender laws, much easier to say we're going to use it as money or as a property, and then we will move peacefully and in a compliant fashion through every single regime. And then we're going to convert every company, every government, every politician, every institution into Bitcoin supporters because it's not inconsistent with their worldview either. Everybody would like to store their value forever.
2 U.S. lawmakers have joined forces in an effort to fire Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, Chairman Gary Gensler. 2024 would be a great time to fire Gary Gensler, pass the SEC Stabilization Act, and hold the SEC accountable for its corruption, Congressman Warren Davidson announced. A director of digital asset strategy at asset management firm VanEck says the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC's cash-only requirement for spot Bitcoin exchange-traded funds, EGATs, is nonsense. He predicted that it would not hold out for long since publicly listed companies already hold billions of dollars in Bitcoin on their balance sheets. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more daily updates. Remember, knowledge is power, and we're here to empower you on your financial journey. Until next time, happy investing